Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are looking at the J-27 Ordnance Transport. The J-27 Ordnance Transport was the backbone of the Starlight Defense Force and remains a common sight in the inner sphere and periphery armies, consisting of a tracked cab and a wheeled trailer unit driven by two crewmen. Each J-27 can carry 11 tons of ammo in total, enough for a single Battletech Lance. The tractor can hold 3 tons of ammunition, typically missile reloads for LRM launchers, while the trailer carries the remainder. A half ton of armor protects the vehicle, though the supplies are transported in the open. The trailer can only be detached from the cab manually, usually the job of the third crewman. Though critical to the resupply of military units in the field, the G-27 makes for a very explosive target. For some great house armies, especially those of House Kurita, the J-27s are operated by penal units. Though House Steiner and House Davian do not follow this policy, most military convicts are given the choice between the firing squad and service with a J-27 unit. Uh, they choose the former. Okay. Weapons and equipment. The J-27 is armed with a single Spearing Browning machine gun manned by the third crewman, which is useful for self-defense purposes only. The gun is mounted such that it cannot be depressed low enough to fire into the ammunition on either the trailer or the stored what's stored on the cab. Let's see, we do have a couple variants here. We have a fusion primarily used by the Starlink Defense Force. This original version of the J-27 entered service in 2578 and is identical to the standard J-27, but uses a fusion engine. Performance, protection, and equipment remain the same as the standard J-27. Now we have an armor. This 2833 variant of the J-27 reduces the machine gun ammunition to a half ton and uses the freed weight to add more armor. Though this modification offers twice the protection of the standard J-27, this variant can still be destroyed by a single medium laser shot. Now we have the K-27 Killjoy, introduced in 2847. This is a combat variant designed to look like a regular J-27 while mounting an SRM-4 missile launcher and additional armor. We have the Risk, the Republic Institute of Strategic Command project launched around 3142. This refit was primarily made to deploy its associated trailer, heavy ferrofibers armor, and small pulse laser, and a pair of M-pods protect the transport. Accelerated with an 80 class fuel cell engine and an improved drivetrain compared to the original unit. Now, trailers. The Risk, designed by the Republic Institute of Strategic Command about around 3142, as a cheap and innocuous platform for their experimental viral jammer. This fusion powered 10-ton trailer is made to be placed in key strategic locations to disrupt enemy electronics using either jammer configuration. It carries two M pods for self defense, one on each side, and is protected by heavy ferrofibers armor. Now we do have two pictures here. The original one here by Dwayne Luce, and the second one here that they use themselves being the Extra Risk variant. All right. Some of the things I do want to note now, we don't have a price tag on this, so I won't have a price tag to be able to shout out and say what we have. This is saying it's got a 50 ICE engine, where in the 3025 technical readout book that I have sitting right behind me has it listed as a 30 ICE engine. So the max speed that's listed here being 86 kilometers an hour is slightly different than what I will have listed. Um, Wanting to really make a note of that, seeing that we're going from a 50 down to a 30 ICE engine. And the other thing I really want to mention is In the listing in the book, it notes that the trailer that's actually being hauled is a 25-ton trailer for hauling all the gear, giving it a 20-ton cargo capacity. Now, the tractor itself is 10 tons, and if you have, say, 3 tons of cargo capacity on that, uh, it gives it a little bit of cargo capacity, and the machine gun is on there. But for the most part, it's just really the engine unit with a little bit of storage, and everything else is really stored on the trailer unit. So with that, let's get into our D6 stats and go from there. All right, so our ordnance transport, as the picture's not moved over far enough yet. Okay, uh, now this one is, for some reason, I have this listed as speeder scale. It should be speeder scale, it should be Walker scale. Okay, getting that all fixed. 10 tons for our actual tonnage for the uh, kind of cab crawler itself, with a crew of 3 passengers. Um, I left that in there as one. I meant to change it, but I didn't. Um, so I flipped up on that one. Now, this is the cost of the scout vehicle um, from early on. I'll leave that in here just as a base price to throw it in here. Really, we don't have much here. It's just a 10-ton vehicle with a trailer that can hold up to 20 tons, 20 tons of cargo. Um, so leaving it just at this probably would work here. Let's see. Let's put this at 3 tons of internal. I thought I had all this done, and as I'm going through, apparently I didn't. Um, so here we are. Just kind of trying to finish this up and make it all work out here. Okay, full coverage, ground altitude, maneuverability. This is slow, light. I don't think I know I changed the move and all that, but maneuverability, I don't think I changed. And with it being as slow as it is, it's also light, which really kind of throws things for a loop here. Because typically when I'm looking at all this, because the lightest I go is maneuverability would be a 3D. So let's just leave it as a 3D. It's not going that fast. Um, Shoot, now I gotta find it in the book again as I'm kind of messing all this up here. Okay, it does have a flank speed of 8. So 3D, we'll leave that as our base. Getting out to an 8 does give us a plus 1D. So really that makes it a 4D for maneuverability. Uh, so let's just make it that maneuverable. Although really I don't see it being that maneuverable. Why don't we just drop that down to a 2? Seeing it's got the trailer and all that, and it is a slower vehicle, uh, lightweight. We'll just leave it as a 2D for maneuverability. Has the move of 52 kilometers an hour. Now that's with the flank speed of an 8, and the body strength. Now again, I had to kind of come up with this because normally when I'm looking at our body strength, I start off at 20 because that's what I was thinking of for our battle mechs. And at 20 tons, it's a 2D plus 1. So now I'm really kind of going down by 2 pluses. So actually, I did have this right here at one time, but my math isn't mathing right. So that would really take us to a 1D plus 2 or 8 armor points total. It's supposed to have 4 points on each side. So why it's 8, that would be 16. Because it's got, what, 1 ton of armor on here? Oops, let's mash it. We haven't gotten that far yet. No, it says it's got half a ton. So really that's 2 points per side. So yeah, we're right. All right, and then getting down to our weapons. So having the machine gun. So this is the nice little thing where you can start looking at where things are. Our standard machine gun is a 50 caliber machine gun in the Battletech universe. Um, so with that being said, it is a top turret, Walker scale, fire control is 2D, damage is 2D. And then we have 20 tons of assorted ammunition. That's going to be on the trailer, and the trailer weight is supposed to be a maximum of 25 tons. So if you're running this as a campaign in a role-playing sense and you really want to mess with people, you can say you can only have a limit of, say, 5 tons per axle, which, out here in the hinterlands, like I am, sometimes we find some lighter bridges that have that on here. This would not be able to manage that because when we look at the trailer, you're going to be looking at trying to support 12 tons per axle, 12, 12 and a half, thereabouts. Um, and trying to travel over that, you may collapse that bridge. The cab crawler part of it would make it over, but the trailer would not. That's where our issues is going to kind of come in here. Um, Something to throw out there for just a little extra fun in a role playing sense, which is why we're doing this. So that really does encompass everything that we have. I mean, it's not a lot here. This isn't something that we see thrown out and redone and so on and so forth all that often because there really isn't a need for it. Essentially, we're just trying to get ammunition out somewhere, and unfortunately, you're kind of left out into the elements of whatever is there. So, and as it was kind of noted, Kurita would throw kind of military prisoners onto the detail of being ordnance transporters, so that way, if they were taken out, you weren't losing kind of honorable warriors. You would lose people that were dishonorable for one reason or another. So, where I don't think you're really getting the best of work out of that. Um, I think you might have people that might try to do themselves in or whatever, knowing that that's essentially they're being considered as disposable. So that's my thought and take on it, but it is what it is. With that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's always wonderful having you here. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video.